Arizona Senator John McCain is our guest in studio here at News Talk 92.3 KTAR. Good to see you, Senator.
Thank you, John. Thanks for having me on, and I brought two of my old friends with me.
Would you like to do the introduction?
Thanks. Colonel Orson Swindle, who was the United States Marine Corps, who spent 6.5 years in Hanoi in prison, and my dear and beloved friend, Colonel Bud Day, who I lived with also in prison camp. Bud Day is the most highly decorated living American, Congressional Medal of Honor holder, and many other awards. He served in World War II, in the Korean War, and in the Vietnam War, where he was my senior ranking officer and inspired all of us with his courage and his leadership. And because of his seniority, he came in for extra special treatment from our North Vietnamese captors. And I might add that his family lived here in Glendale. He flew out of Luke Air Force Base, and his family lived here in Glendale all during the period that he was in prison. So I'm proud to have my friends with me. We're going to be down at American Legion Post number 1 doing a rally and town hall meeting with all our veterans, and I'm counting on our veterans in this upcoming elections, as I always have.
Gentlemen, all of you, thank you for your service. The nation owes you a debt of gratitude. Thanks for being here. It's good to see you, all three of you. Senator McCain, were you surprised that J.D. Hayworth took you on in this primary?
No, I made on his radio show when he attacked me for well over a year. I had every anticipation that he would.
When that all began, were you kind of internally thinking this could be trouble because this guy's going to attack me and go after me where I have some soft sides, which is within the Republican Party?
I don't believe I have any soft sides. Number one, I've always taken every race seriously that I've been in. Several races at the beginning, people said this is going to be a tough race. I always anticipate a tough race.
You knew there'd be a challenger.
I just came from a tough race from getting the nomination of the Republican Party in a presidential campaign. That would be viewed by many as a, quote, tough race.
And that's the thing. I mean, you're the party's nominee. You're the titular head of the party. And then you end up getting challenged within your own party in your own state that you've served for how many years? 30 years.
That's fine with me. I mean, look, it's I have no problem with that. I always run hard. I always, no matter what, work hard. I've been working hard for the people of Arizona ever since I lost the election. I came back working hard. Look, Arizona's hurting very badly right now. We all know that. 48% of the homes are underwater. The unemployment, real unemployment, is 17.5%. I've been working for the state and for the people for as hard as anybody could, not to mention the national security issues. But let me say the question in this election will be who can be most effective for the state of Arizona and help the people in Arizona. I think it's pretty obvious. I'll be chairman of the Senate Armed Services Committee when the Republicans regain the majority. I've been working hard. J.D. Hayworth was thrown out of office by the voters in 2006. I'll be glad to compare our records and our knowledge and our background, but most of all, who can serve Arizona most effectively.
What do you make of these job approval ratings concerning Congress, even less enthusiastically supported than the president right now? 8% want you guys returned. A lot of people say throw the bums out, and unfortunately for you, you're in there. So you've got to defend this record in a climate when people want, when they talk about change, they want everybody thrown out.
Well, first of all, I have fought against my own party as well as the as the present party. I've led the fight on the floor of the Senate on Obamacare. I said the surge had to work and succeed when everybody said that was the end of my career. By the way, I fell off the couch the other night when I saw the vice president say that Iraq could be the greatest success of the Obama administration. I'm not making that up. So really, listen, I'm very proud of my record, but it's not. But also, again, who is best positioned to help the people of the state of Arizona? I think it's very clear. Our military bases are important. We need help for small businesses. We need job creation. We need to keep people in their homes. I've been working on that, and I'm proud of my record, but I'm not running on my record. I'm running on how I can continue to serve the people of the state of Arizona.
Let me ask you about that.
That's what it's all about.
You turned 74 in August, correct?
My birthday is in August. I'm 73.
You'll be, okay.
Yeah.
question about service and talking about potentially term limits, which people, that whole debate has been reignited when people are frustrated with Congress. Do you believe, you've been serving since 1982, do you believe that somebody can be in Washington too long?
I'm sure they can be, and that's why we have regular elections. and people are thrown out of office, and people are kept in office. People who have served their country, like Barry Goldwater did, he was kept in office. People that didn't serve well, like J.D. Hayworth, were thrown out. And so I mean, that's the way elections work.
So how do you?
But we're here today to talk about veterans, and we're talking about national security. And I brought my friend Colonel Bud Day, the most highly decorated living American, and Orson Swindle with me today to talk about veterans and talk about our commitment to them and the incredible service and sacrifice that they are making today. I've been to Iraq and Afghanistan many times. I'm proud to have earned the support of our veterans all over Arizona, both active duty and Guard members.
In 2008, I was on the bus with you in New Hampshire when you were really pushing the surge in Iraq. And I remember asking you, how will you know and how quickly will you know that this will work? And you said, once we do the surge, you're going to know pretty quickly whether it's going to work or not.
Yeah, and I said also when pundits all over America said that my campaign was finished because of my support of the surge, I said I'd rather lose a campaign than lose a war.
How do you believe Iraq is progressing? And then we'll move into Afghanistan.
Obviously, Iraq is progressing. There's not been an American killed in the last 2 months. I'm sorry if that escaped your and most of the media's notice.
No, it did not.
It's clear success. And we will be leaving, and we will be leaving because it has succeeded. When most experts, including and non-experts, and all of the liberal media and the political pundits and the so-called foreign policy experts said we couldn't succeed in Iraq. I'm proud that we did. We couldn't have afforded to have lost. In Afghanistan, it's going to be hard, tough. Casualties will go up as they did at the beginning of the surge.
We're seeing
and we
some
will
success
succeed.
there.
Absolutely.
Right now, we've captured some high-value Taliban leaders.
Absolutely. We have the best trained, best equipped, most professional military in history, and I'm so proud to have their support.
What do you make, and we're going to raise this at 9:30, what do you make of the Tea Party movement? What do you make of where this anger is coming from, and what do they want, in your view?
I think it's great for America. I think they want to be heard in Washington. I think that they believe correctly that there's a disconnect. They've taxed enough already. They want less taxes, less government, less spending. And they're a very viable movement in America. I'm not only glad they're out there, I think that they have already had a significant effect. But one of the reasons why the Tea Party has done so well is that this president was elected, and people believe that he would be a centrist president. Instead, he is governed from the far left. America is a right-of-center nation, and they feel all these disconnect, and polls reflect that, and anger and frustration, because they're trying to impose big government on the American people. And I'm proud to have led the fight on the floor of the Senate day after day, week after week, night after night, even on weekends, against Obamacare. And I have fought for the men and women in the military, and I have fought against the spending practices. I never supported an earmark in the history that I've been in the United States Senate and House. J.D. Hayworth supported earmark after earmark after earmark and got all tied up with Abramoff, and the people threw him out.
Let me ask you about this, because the public, there is still some confusion over the bank bailout and the stimulus.
Yeah.
The bank bailout was $800 billion. And that was at the end of the Bush administration. Paulson and others said, if we don't do this, we are facing a cataclysmic meltdown in the financial markets. You voted for it. Hayworth has been blasting you for voting for that. But you felt at the time it was essential, correct, to save the financial industry.
The President of the United States called me up and said we're on the verge of financial collapse. The fact is that everybody knew that. The stock market had gone down 700 points, 1.3 trillion of American savings. And I said, look, what's it going to be used for? They said to bail out the housing situation, to fix the housing crisis. They didn't. What they did was they bailed out Wall Street at the expense of Main Street. And the fact is, it was my alternative Republicans had to the stimulus. I fought against the stimulus. There were no earmarks, by the way, in TARP package. It was a bailout for the financial institutions and the banks in America. So when the President of the United States calls you up, your own president says, if we don't get this thing done, the world's financial system is going to collapse, then obviously that's why I voted the way that I did. I fought and led the fight against the stimulus package.
This is President Obama's 862 billion.
Yep.
That you know, he was out there touting it yesterday, he and Vice President Biden, that it has created jobs. My calculation is we've lost 3 million jobs during this situation, and maybe they've staved off 2 million others being lost. Is that your view of it?
No.
But that's a net loss of 1 million jobs still.
It's not my view of it. My view of it has been a total disaster. They said unemployment would be 8%. It's now 9.7. People say that it would be 10. Look, it's a matter of record. They said unemployment won't go higher than 8%. So they were wrong. And the fact is that what we've done is mortgaged our children's futures in an act of generational theft, which is incredible. It's really 1.1 trillion when you look at the interest associated with it. As I say, we Republicans had an alternative that had to do with tax cuts, with small businesses, with helping really create jobs in America. That was rejected on a party line vote.
Let me ask you about, well, we've got to take a break here. Can you stay to the half hour?
Yeah.
Fantastic. Here with Arizona Senator John McCain on News Talk 92.3 KTAR. John Hook sitting in for Daryl Ankarlo. Back with Arizona's Senator in a minute.
Coupon program. What I'm saying is that they just spent this money, with respect to my friends, like a drunken sailor and the bar is still open. I mean, that's what's wrong with this stimulus package. It's crazy, the stuff. And again, we Twitter the top 10 projects, and people don't believe it. They think we're making it up.
Let me run something from your opponent, J.D. Hayworth. And since you guys are all here and you went through some horrific torture in North Vietnam. Listen to J.D. Hayworth, your opponent in the Republican primary, talking about this, Rob.
Just like the liberals, John opposes waterboarding captured terrorists like the Christmas bomber. Just like the liberals, John wants to close the prison at Gitmo.
Okay, he's saying, just like the liberals, you oppose waterboarding. Just like the liberals, you wanted to close Gitmo.
Of course, I wanted to close Gitmo, but I wanted it done in a proper fashion with a proper policy. I have introduced legislation. We have forced votes on legislation on having these people tried in this country, given their Miranda rights. We've stood up and fought against it. They should be tried in military tribunals. By the way, we passed a Military Commissions Act. J.D. Hayworth praised it back in 2006. That was a bill so that these are enemy combatants. They should be tried only in military commissions. They should be tried in Guantanamo Bay, and they should never be given their Miranda rights. Never in history has an enemy combatant ever been tried in a civilian court.
What is your take on it, but this is one of the places where some Republicans may split from you, and that's over torture. Some people say, look, these guys are out to hurt us. They're trying to blow up our airplanes. They're trying to run planes into our buildings. Why shouldn't we waterboard them if we can get information that's actionable? Do you believe that's true? If
it's a ticking time bomb, then any president will take responsibility for it. If you inflict pain on someone, they will tell you anything. If you inflict enough pain, they will tell you anything that they think you want to know. It's far better to do the interrogation techniques, which, again, we approved some extra techniques for the CIA and have high, what's it called, the interrogation group that is specially trained in it. But look, the fact is that what happened in Abu Ghraib caused us damage in our image throughout the world. There is no doubt about that. We can get the information we need without doing what we did with the Christmas bomber, and after 50 minutes of interrogation, reading them their Miranda rights. They should never get their Miranda rights because they do not have those constitutional protections. And so I am confident that with the right people under the right methods, we can get the information that we need, but they must not be given Miranda rights. And again, if we get into a war and we torture people, our prisoners then may be tortured as well. And again, I think that it's very important that right now we pass legislation, which we're introducing, that says enemy combatants will never be given the same rights as an American citizen, and that means they're tried by military tribunals in Guantanamo, not in New York City.
Guys, I wish we had more time. This goes quickly. Senator McCain, Colonel Day, Colonel Swindle, thank you very much for coming in studio and accompanying your old friend. Senator McCain, we got to do this again.
Oh, thanks, John. It's great to be with you. As always, as you said, we go back a couple of years. I haven't aged a bit, but you look pretty ancient. Thanks,
Thank you.
John.
I turned 50 on Sunday. Thank you, Senator McCain. I appreciate that. Guys, thank you for coming in studio.